You're locked into the Liberty Flames podcast, powered by Rogers Heating and Cooling, servicing Greater Lynchburg's HVAC and electrical needs. Schedule your service today at callrogers.com.
The Liberty Flames mobile app is a must-have for game days. When you download the app, your access to Flames Nation is in the palm of your hand. Listen to our live Liberty Flames Sports Network audio broadcast. Click the Media tab, and under Audio, find the live broadcast in progress. Football, basketball, baseball, coaches shows, all right here. Purchase and manage tickets to the next Flames home game. Click the Tickets tab. Select Purchase Tickets. Then you have the ability to buy seats to the next game. Download those tickets directly to your device and scan them at the gate. Or select Manage Tickets to download your previously purchased tickets or parking pass. Transfer or sell your tickets easily through the Manage Tickets button. Download the Liberty Flames mobile app today from your App Store or Google Play.
Welcome to the NAZSCAR podcast with Nick Pierce. Don't worry, there's no lap, traffic, or caution flags here. Paul Nazigan and Tim Scarborough are here to bring you the latest on Liberty Flames basketball and mid-major hoops. Now, let's get to it. Here's Nick, Naz, and Scar.
It's another edition of the NAZSCAR podcast, and it's time to talk Flames basketball, mid-major hoops as well. I'm Nick Pierce, back with the guys once again. Tim Scarborough, Paul Nazigan here for NAZSCAR, part of the Liberty Flames podcast family. Liberty Flames podcast presented by Rogers Heating and Cooling, servicing Greater Lynchburg's HVAC and electrical needs. Schedule your service at callrogers.com. And as cold as it's been, you definitely want your heat pumps working, so give them a call. Lots of snow on the ground here over the last couple weeks. We've had 2 or 3 snowfalls in Lynchburg, although ironically starting to heat up here for Christmas. Flames heating up as well. They got a win at home on Tuesday night over Midway. We'll chop that up here for you as we start to wind things down here with a non-conference calendar. So much to get to here on this week's edition of the show. Go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe if you're not already doing so with the Liberty Flames podcast. Again, you'll get our shows downloaded directly to you each week. Hit that follow button, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're getting us. We appreciate you coming along here for the ride. Handful of shows into the season now, guys, and we're starting to learn a little bit about this Liberty bunch. But before we get into that, Scar, Naz, how you guys doing today?
Doing well. Yeah, just got home, and Flames put on a good show at Midway, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But yeah, things are going well. I'm glad the temperatures here in Lynchburg are warming up a little bit.
You guys need to move down south. Atlanta is it's actually pretty cold here.
See, I was about to say it still gets cold in Atlanta.
It does,
and then you just don't get snow, so then you're just miserable.
Well, I stay inside. That's the thing. Right? I can't go out in the driveway and work on my jump shot though. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, no, because I remember that you grew up down there, and it's like it still gets cold. You just don't get to build a snowman. I remember one time though we had about 6 or 7 inches of snow when I was about 9 or 10 years old. It was the craziest thing ever. You'd think we'd never seen snow in our lives. Wildest winter I can remember down there. But no, it's we've had a little bit of snow here, starting to push that out. Ironically, with Christmas just around the corner. Actually, this will be our last show before Christmas. No show next week, so make a note of that. Some housekeeping here. We'll be back with you the last week of December to talk Conference USA. And actually, we're going to talk a little bit of Conference USA coming up here in just a bit, because conference games are getting underway this week. You got Middle Tennessee and Kennesaw State playing here on Wednesday night. But before we get into all that, guys, let's talk about this Flames team right now. 7-3, coming off a thumping of Midway at the arena on Tuesday night, 95-57. Good to see the Flames get back in the win column. After a really disappointing outing at NC State just 6 days prior to that, the Wolfpack dispatched the Flames 85-45 down in Raleigh. Really 2 games on the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? I mean, Flames got dominated at NC State. They come back home. They dominate someone else. Had to do it without Zach Cleveland on Tuesday night. He woke up sick, was not available, wasn't even at the arena. And then Colin Porter has been able to play the last couple games. Remember, we were talking about him last week with a little bit of a hamstring issue. But Naz, you were on the call, as you mentioned, at Liberty Arena on Tuesday night. Just got home in time to do this podcast with us. Your takeaways from the win over Midway on Tuesday?
Well, the game of Midway went about like the Battle of Midway. we bombed them and jumped all over them. So we had to try to weave that into the broadcast. But
you're good.
No,
Keep
going. How many more references? No. It was good. So, and I know we'll talk a little bit more about NC State, but coming out of that, it was. Me and Matt were talking like it was not a get right game because they weren't broken coming out of NC State, and but it was just we called it like kind of like a tune-up. Like it was a game to just get some good confidence and get back to seeing the ball go in, and without Cleveland there was going to be some opportunity to see some different guys at the forward spot, which looked really good. But just overall, it was just a good game to just, get some confidence going into Saturday. And then I know we're going to talk about the Dayton game coming up. So again, just good overall thoughts. Good job. Took care of business. Had a nice win, and they're feeling good.
To be honest, it wasn't a good watch. And that's not because of the broadcasters. Naz and Matt, of course, did a great job. But the reality is you want to see something competitive, and we knew going in that this would not be competitive. We kind of thought NC State Liberty would be competitive, but the reality is Liberty is not quite at the upper echelon of ACC competing on the road just yet. There have been times and been Liberty teams that could do it. This is not one of them, but it's not the end of the world. Liberty is still a really good Conference USA team. They played the Midway team that was subpar. We knew that, but it was always good. As we say this all the time, Liberty plays the same no matter the opponent, right? And the numbers indicate that. Shot a high percentage from three, shot a high percentage overall from the field, 62% from the field. I mean, that is ridiculous efficiency. Hit 10 threes in the first half. Liberty is averaging 11.8 threes a game, one of the top three-point shooting teams in the country, I believe fourth in the nation. So, they played the way they should play. And you're right, Naz. It wasn't really a get-right game because there's nothing to get right. Liberty is who we think they are. And that should be good enough to compete for a championship in Conference USA.
We saw this team shoot 62% on Tuesday night. You had four guys in double figures. 3 threes for 3 threes for Caden Matheny. But I'm going to stick on Josh Smith here a little bit, Naz, because 14 points, 16 more minutes. I think it's important to watch his development, especially given where this front court is right now. Coach Richie McKay making it official after the game on Tuesday night that Isaiah Enan is done for the remainder of the year. Heartbroken for that young man. We kind of touched on some of that last week. Wasn't sure of his status, but thought it might not be good. It's not. So no Isaiah Enan for the remainder of the year. He was on the bench, though, Tuesday night. He's kind of almost like a student coach at this point. Just a really good attitude from that young man. But that said, Naz, you're looking at this front court. I thought there was a lot of rotation. We saw a lot of different bodies out there on Tuesday night, which is important. You got to get those guys some game minutes, and Josh Smith seems to be one of them that's kind of coming along.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Nick. And we kind of even led that with that thought in the open, knowing that Zach Cleveland was out, nothing serious, just a little bit under the weather. So it's like we knew the forwards were going to get their opportunity and a chance to get some minutes and get some good experience. And it started with Josh Smith. He got the start at the 5 there. And, all night he did a great job. And, just even as we were texting, he brings a great body. He's got good size and strength. But you saw tonight he did some other things. Like he moves really well. He can even, take it and catch it out to 17 and put it for a couple dribbles and had nice control and lay it into the rim, threw him up a couple lob dunks. He'd come off a back screen and loop around and So he's athletic and did a real nice job, played with himself. It was interesting for a team that really wasn't that good. They had a couple big bodies, kind of a big, tall, thin kid, Iguodate, and then big kid Washington Williams. And Nick, you were there. You saw he had a big body, and he was not a bad.
I thought their bigs were physical.
Yes, they that the big kid banged around in there, and so that was a good test for Josh Smith. But just to include the other guys, like we knew that the forward spot would get minutes, and you saw Xander Yates get some more minutes. He hit 3 threes. So again, a game that you need good interior play from him, but he gets some confidence. Ryan Jones, who I know we've talked about and have wanted to see, he got in there and made hits a 3. Then down the other end, he's banging on the glass and gets a couple rebounds and just again played good interior D. And then even Drew Grimes and DJ Drain, like those guys came in and really you could see them just really hustling, and they made the most of their minutes. Drain made some really nice plays. Again, a guy that we got a little better glimpse now. I mean, he can do stuff and handle the ball a little bit. Drew Grimes was battling in the paint and really, diving on the ground you could just see those guys are getting the message, and also getting when they got their opportunities, they made them the most of them. So the game was kind of sandwiched in between NC State and Dayton. I mean, that's a tough, but I think it was perfect because they kind of needed that. You get Cleveland healthy, some other guys got some minutes and did really good productive stuff with those minutes. I was impressed with the new guys.
So Naz, what do you think about Jones Jr.? You think, he's playing like 8 minutes a game, transfer from Virginia Tech. I feel like he's another body. Now that we know Isaiah Enon is not going to be a part of the equation, I feel like Jones should get double-digit minutes. Having said that, teams tend, especially coaches, tend to shrink their benches as we get closer to Conference USA play or to conference play. So it'll be interesting, in my opinion. I'm just curious to see what you think about Jones Jr. getting more minutes at the 5 position.
Yeah, well, you guys both know very well what you got to do if you want minutes under Coach McKay's regime. You got to play D, and you got to rebound. And so, I think, again, we've seen Jones step out and hit. I mean, for a guy his size, he's got a beautiful stroke. He hit a 3 tonight. He also pulled up for another 3, and the guy ran at him, and he took it off the dribble.
Yeah,
and so
very good.
He's got offensive skills, which are really nice and play well into how Liberty likes to play and their offensive philosophy. But I just don't know that, that the commitment is quite there yet. He made big strides tonight because he threw his body around in the paint against the big.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like they need somebody, big body, because if Smith is only going to give you 16, 17 minutes, which is kind of looking like they're going to be quality minutes, but you need some quantity as well. Yeah, and against some of the bigger teams in Conference USA, Zach Cleveland at 6'7" playing the 5 may not work as a solution for a 40-minute game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Liberty puts it together, because that was something Will Wade talked about after the NC State game the other week, was just how different Liberty's front court. Because remember, Will Wade coached McNeese against Liberty last year, so he had a front row seat.
And lost to them.
Yeah, exactly, and lost to him in the Virgin Islands. So he had a front row seat to what Liberty's front court looked like last year. It looks a little bit different this year. Not to say that Liberty's front court isn't good, but I'm saying some of the skill sets are a little bit different from some of the guys you've got there. And then a guy like a Ryan Jones, who's shown some flashes, isn't really proven over the course of a full season.
Yeah, the thing you got out of last year, Aquino was a defensive presence in there. And again, you saw, remember, he was a really good shot blocker. He would mix it up and get physical in there. And again, there was nights where, he'd contribute offensively, but when he wasn't, you knew what you were getting in there. You were getting a tough dude that wouldn't let anybody come in there and get easy points. They were going to take a foul or get a shot blocked. And so I think that's what they're looking for. And again, Josh Smith did and he had some shot blocks tonight too. You saw his athleticism. So, yeah, I think we're all sort of hoping for the same thing, that minutes, or the guys are trustworthy to get those interior minutes, will play hard, physical, rebound, and here's the other thing, like, you don't need those guys to score.
No.
When you got Decker and Porter and Cleveland and Matheny, like, if you can just own that paint, and give the team quality defensive minutes and on the glass. You're right, Ray. It kind of, we know they can go small, and that's a great attribute to have. That's a tough matchup, but they
Yeah.
should be able to. I hope they can also have a lineup where they can really go big.
You need that. I
Yeah.
think you need that. And like FAU, that game, we thought, Nick and I did that game the night before. FAU hammered Charleston and Lynchburg, right? And they did it with their bigs, and it wasn't just pounding it in and throwing it in. They don't have any Shaquille O'Neals, but their bigs are skilled at FAU. And they couldn't even stay on the floor with how good Liberty was playing with their sets. They couldn't stay with the smaller guards. So you can get away with playing small. But I'm just telling you, on Saturday, when they go up to Ohio, they better bring some size, because Dayton is very physical. I know we're going to get into that in a second, but I think you have to have the ability to put bigger players on the floor and rely on them to give you some production. And you just score different protection, and you do the rebounding. Against NC State, Liberty got rebounded by 11 rebounds. That's a ton. They got hammered. And NC State drove the ball down their throats. Everybody that caught it would pump fake and put it on the floor with impunity. They weren't worried about getting fouled. They weren't worried about getting the shot blocked. And that's why they scored 85 points that night. Liberty doesn't give up those kind of points. But NC State had a great game plan. And I'm saying other teams in the Conference USA will be able to put big players on the floor that can hurt you in the paint.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a big test coming up here on Saturday. We'll get into it in just a minute. I mean, look, you got a lot of tests coming up now because conference plays here. Right after this, you get some days off. The Christmas week, the Flames will have some time, maybe to heal up some bumps and things. I know that Porter's been dealing with stuff. Hopefully Zach Cleveland will be healthy even by Saturday. They're going to need him if they're going to have a chance to compete with Dayton.
Yeah,
but
sure.
you got Conference USA games coming. Like I said, as of the time of this taping, or as the time of this, the airing of this podcast, right? We come out here on a Wednesday. Wednesday night, you got Kennesaw State at Middle Tennessee. That one's going to be a fun watch in Murfreesboro. Middle Tennessee, tough at home. We know Kennesaw State, how good they've been with Simeon Cottle. Scar, you highlighted them last week. You got that game coming up. You got Sam Houston coming off a tough stretch. They're going to be at Oregon State on Wednesday night, but then they go to New Mexico State, I believe it is, after that. You got some conference games coming. You got, Western Kentucky and Jack State, or they're going to be coming up here pretty soon. So I know Liberty has got Kennesaw State and Jack State at home to open things. And it's unfortunate. We were talking a little bit about this with the conference scheduling, and this isn't a knock on the conference, but it's just unfortunate for Liberty that they get the front end of that at home, because on the back end, these two teams are going to meet again towards the end of the season, right? So it's unfortunate for Liberty that they get the home game when the students are gone. But you still got a home game. These are as important games in conference play coming up, Kennesaw and Jacksonville State, just to open things up right after that trip to FIU.
Yeah, and Jacksonville, Kennesaw, every year we talk about what's the toughest road trip, or what's the toughest two teams that you have to play back-to-back. It may be Jacksonville, Kennesaw, the travel partners, and Liberty has to start off the season with them, and they'll get them on the road late for perhaps a chance to win, or at least compete for a Conference USA regular season. But it is interesting. I'm going to go watch Jacksonville State in person on that first night, open night versus Western Kentucky. What'd you say, the 28th or the 29th? I can't remember which one, but that Monday the 28th, right? So, yeah, I better make sure I show up in the right night, or I'll be out in the cold.
Monday the 29th.
Yeah, Monday the 29th. There you go. I had it all wrong, right? But at any rate, going to see them in person, I'll get a real feel for Western. I feel like Jacksonville State is going to be tough to beat on their court, but they're also like the kind of team with Ray Harper coaching. They're going to have a great game plan to come into Lynchburg and beat Liberty. You know, you don't want to even split. You want to win both those games, but you could very well easily lose both those games. Conference USA is going to be very, very competitive. A lot of teams have retooled. The athletic quotient is either the same or better going into this season. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you think about Armello Boone for Western Kentucky. True freshman.
Yeah.
This kid's from Lexington, Kentucky. He's averaging 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3-time CUSA Freshman of the Week already.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had 16 against Vanderbilt, a ranked Vanderbilt team. So he's had double digits in a bunch of games so far. Interesting. They're leaning on a freshman there quite a bit.
Well, they got him, and they have Tegan Moore back, who's one of the top 3 or 4 scorers in the conference. He was out last year with injury, made a nice showing as a freshman, and so yeah, they got a kind of a 1-2 punch. And if you look at their record, they had a good non-conference stint, and so yeah, Western could be right back in the mix too. I want to say, look, we got to go to FIU to open conference play, and like it's a little it's a little nerve-wracking because after the Dayton everybody's flying home, and we were talking to assistant coach Zach Farquhar, and he's like, yeah, we're going to kind of bring the guys back on the evening of Christmas. And
we remember those days, Naz.
Oh my gosh. It's like, so they'll get back into town, try to get down to Miami. And you only get a day or two to practice. And then you open conference on the road with kind of a revitalized, revamped FIU. It's not like they've complete roster overhaul. And what's interesting is Coach Ballard was talking with us on the pre-show, and he's like, it's completely new. There's no, hangover from the old. All those guys are gone. So he goes, we got a whole new fresh outlook, and so who knows what they'll look like, but. The timing of it is not great with coming off of Christmas and things like that. So every game, sum it up, every game's going to be a battle. Yeah. You better get ready because, man, who knows?
I'm curious about Jack State. They're struggling right now. They lost to a bad Georgia State team, 77-73 in Atlanta. Jack State just 4-5 right now. They got Eastern Kentucky and East Tennessee State left on the non-conference ledger. I mean, they've lost to. Let's see, they started 3-0. They beat Coastal. They got losses to South Alabama, Arkansas State, North Alabama. North Alabama's a good, A-Sun team, but that's not somebody you want to be losing to if you're Jack State. So I'm curious if they can get things turned around here quickly in conference play.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. But you're right. They haven't had the quality starts that they are used to having in the preseason before, the pre-conference USA season. But, it's still early. But teams are starting to shape. They're starting to become who they are going to be. But just the beginning stages, right? If you think about a metamorphosis, they're not quite the butterfly yet, but they're on their way by the time you get past Christmas break. But Naz, I got to go back to that. That is a tough thing to have to come back on Christmas night.
Yeah.
And then travel. And we've done that. We've done that as coaches at Liberty. We've done that as players at Liberty.
Right.
And it's not fun. And the last thing you want to do is not be focused and go down to Florida and lose and then have to play 2 tough games in Lynchburg. So, yeah, it's going to be
I think we did that too. We went to the beach the day before, and it did not work out real well.
at FIU, right? Yeah.
And hey, look, FIU's 5-1 at home.
I know. I'm telling you, it's there's no nights off. And Jack State, they got a big center. Mustafa I forget his name. I'm Mutakil, but
I was going to give you a whole $1 if you said his name correctly.
I've been practicing, but I still got it wrong. But
you got till January 4th to figure it out.
That's right. He's playing really well. I mean, he's had a couple high 20, 33-point outing, but yeah, I don't know that he has the guys around him yet. But one thing, actually, at halftime, we kind of put up the Conference USA standings, and what kind of jumped out is a lot, the whole top half of the conference has like a winning record. So, like, you guys know what the non-conference looks like. Yeah, everybody plays a couple, midways,
Midways.
cupcakes, right?
Yeah.
But those other ones, you're either playing kind of equal competition or you're playing up. And so, for everybody to kind of have a winning record, I mean, look at Liberty. Like right now, they're sitting at 7-3, and it's like, so for those top teams to kind of have winning records, I think it's kind of showing, Scar, like you're saying, it's kind of coming together, and there's going to be another grouping, I think, of teams that are going to be really solid that could potentially win the whole thing.
Well, 11th and final non-conference game coming up for Liberty on Saturday. And this one is, I'll just say it, and Scar, you said it last week. I agree with you. This is going to be the most challenging one. Liberty goes to Dayton Saturday. That'll be a 12:30 Eastern tip-off. And the Flyers are for real. If you did not see it Tuesday night, Dayton absolutely took Florida State to the woodshed. Yes, Florida State. Florida State's not a very good ACC team this year. They were 5-5 in that, but I don't care. That's an ACC school. That's a logo coming into your building, and Dayton made an example out of them. 97-69. They led by as many as 28 points in that game, and they had 6 men in double figures, highlighted by Javon Bennett's 25 points. Get this, they shot 49% in that game, fellas, and they got to the free throw line. Dayton did 47 times. 40 of 47 at the free throw line. Scar, you couldn't make 40 free throws in a gym with a rack of balls and the doors locked.
I can still shoot now. Let's not get crazy. But the Florida State team had 5 guys foul out of the game too. That's crazy to me. Like, I get it, but I watched that game, and Dayton is for real. They're very physical. It looked more like an old Big East game with some athleticism and skills on top of it. And Anthony Grant, I remember when he was at VCU, his teams played hard. Dayton, he's been there. That's his alma mater. He's been there for over a decade now, and he has done a fantastic job. That league is by far, the most underrated league in the country. And it's not close because they're easily on par with the Missouri Valley and some of these other mid-major conferences that get multiple bids. It's a struggle to get 2 teams out of the Atlantic 10, and it's always 4 or 5 of them that play on a national level. St. Louis is really good every year. VCU, we always talk about them. Dayton, of course, Davidson, but it's not just them. So, Dayton, I don't know. This could be the Obi Toppin Dayton in 2020. They only lost 2 games and won 30-plus games and had a good chance to go to the Final Four. Or this could be just a very balanced Dayton. I know Bennett and Montgomery are really good players. The big kid, Latang, is special. 12.5 points a game. He's a rim protector. He's 7'1". They have a ton of talent on this team, and they play hard. It is not going to be pretty on Saturday, fellas. I'm sorry to say.
It's going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, it certainly will. I guess I'll sort of go into Saturday with sort of the same philosophy. Like, again, you want to go in there and fight your heart out and you want to win. But I just think you got to go in there and come out knowing you played well in a really against a great team and in a hostile environment. Now, if the score is going to be what it is, but I think they left some stuff on the floor at NC State. And it just, even Coach McKay talked about they just were not really in sync. Just you want to go in there and give Dayton your best shot, whatever happens at the end, knowing that that's your last game before you are going into conference play. So
they got to hit shots earlier.
Yes, you got to go into a hostile environment, hit shots. Yeah. Move the ball, play some tough D, and again, the score will be what it is. But you want to come out of there knowing we're playing well, and now we're ready to start conference play.
We were talking about the front court earlier, and Scar, you mentioned him, Amael Latang from France, 7'1", averaging 12 points a game. I mean, he's a force. You said it, rim protector on the defensive end. He can score on the offensive end. I don't know. I don't know if you just throw a bunch of bodies at him. I mean, Liberty's going to play the defense that it plays.
Yeah, you can't do that because Jordan Durkak transfer from Rutgers from last year, a terrific perimeter shooter, as well as Montgomery and Bennett. Those guys drive the ball, but they can all shoot the three too. So, I mean, where do you pick your poison? It doesn't matter what you pick. You're going to be poisoned.
Yeah, Montgomery, the transfer from Georgia, he's averaging 15 points a game. I mean, it's a loaded team. Anthony Grant, you mentioned, he's really excited about this bunch, as well he should be. They've won 33 straight non-conference games at home. They have owned the UD Arena. So this is going to be a big-time test for the Flames. Coach Richie McKay said it going into NC State. You find out who you're not in these games. The Flames will it's like you said, Naz, it's more important how they play than what the final score says. And I'm not saying that it's, Liberty can't win this game, but it's –
So I'll say it then.
it could –
can't win that game.
It might not go well. This may not be a good day, but it's more important how you compete and trying to get some more experience and go up there and see what you can do against a really, really good Dayton team. And then you turn the page, you get to conference play. So we'll see how that all shakes out here for the Flames. With you guys referenced it, that long Christmas break and then coming back and traveling after that. No NASDAQ, no SCAR watch this week. We'll get back to those here in just a little bit, but in lieu of that, I'll throw one out here for you, just kind of switching gears. Did you guys see Dennis Parker Jr. for Radford the other night? Speaking of NC State, NC State transfer drops 53 points on Coppin State.
That's pretty impressive.
53, that's a Radford and a Big South record. It's the most points scored by a Division I player since 2019. Radford beat Coppin State 107-77.
Darius McGee never got 50 plus, 53.
I think they were in the Ace Sun by then.
Yeah, I remember he had 45, I think.
Yeah.
Well, no, Darius, he had 50 against FGCU, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he hit 50 one time.
50, okay.
Yeah,
but
50
not 53.
51.
Yeah, I thought it was 48, 45 or something like that. But yeah, Nick, you know what? I actually did see that. It's pretty impressive. And I thought about making it my NASDAQ report. But then I was like, wait, he's at Radford? No. No, I'm not.
Oh, the blood is still boiling, I see.
Hey, old rivalries die hard.
Radford. We talk mid-major hoops. That's a mid-major. I'm just throwing it out there.
That's great. That's great.
A pretty impressive performance.
It is. That's a great feat for anybody, and we'll give him a little pub.
I've never called a collegiate game where somebody scored 50 points. I did, however, once upon a time, I called an ABA game, probably 15, 16 years ago, where a guy had 50.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, so Matt and I were calling. When Darius McGee and Chase Johnson, I think he was with Stetson at the time, man, those guys, I think they hit both.
Going back and forth.
Yeah. Maybe they got the 40. And then we called the one where Darius and it was FGCU's point guard. I forget his name, Trey something, but those guys went back and forth. That might have been the 48 or 50 game. Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Scar, were you on the game at Longwood where Devon Marshall went off? What was it, like 40-some points? And it was like both teams scored 100 points?
I did that game, and if you remember, the kid Carey that transferred in from LaSalle landed on me. He jumped in the audience to catch
he wanted an autograph.
And he stood up on the table backwards, and he fell right into my lap. It was just crazy. What a crazy night. Yeah, that's when they were doing the freeze, when everybody freezes, the mannequin challenge. All that stuff happened that same night. They did one of the better ones that went viral that night. So, yeah, I remember that very well.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe I'll get a 50-point game at some point. Maybe Brett Decker can go drop 50 on Saturday.
It could be. He's looking.
Give the Flames a good
not
shot
Saturday,
to win that
but
game.
maybe at some point.
If somebody drops 50 on Saturday, that'd be nice to see. We'll see what happens. 12:30 tip-off, Liberty and Dayton this Saturday, UD Arena in Dayton, Ohio. We'll have it for you on the radio, Liberty Flame Sports Network from Van Wagner. Liberty Flame Sports Network presented by Abish Financial Services, that is. So we will have that for you, and then we'll have conference play coming up. So, again, no show next week here on the NASCAR podcast. We'll be back with you the last week of December between Christmas and New Year's. Fellas, wish you a Merry Christmas. Hope you enjoy it with your families. Look forward to talking Conference USA hoops after that.
Yeah, can't believe it's almost here, man. It's going to be a terrific Conference USA season, I think. It's not going to be easy. I know Flames Nation thinks Liberty's just going to repeat, but hey, it's going to be a challenge.
The NASCAR podcast, part of the Liberty Flames podcast family, presented by Rogers Heating and Cooling. Schedule your service at callrogers.com. For Naz and Scar, I'm Nick Pierce. Thanks so much for stopping by, folks.